I want to go across first to Shama Mohammed. Is there actually an agreement, like we saw from Kiran Rijiju in that report that I just played out, that Parliament will be allowed to function? Because we're hearing different things from the likes of Jairam Ramesh and others in the Congress. It seems as if in the same meeting, both sides came out with different interpretations of what was discussed and agreed upon.
Rahul, we would love the Parliament to function, honestly speaking. You have been a journalist for a very long time. You've seen how UPA functions. Now, if the ruling party or the ruling government does not want to do it, we can't do anything. One of the most important ingredients of democracy is accountability. From 2014 onwards, there is no accountability. Any case, take it Adani, take Manipur, take anything over here, take electoral bonds. There is no investigation. We are asking for a JPC in Adani. We said we would like to discuss it because it has come.
The government says it's prepared for a discussion. The Speaker said it. The Parliamentary Affairs Minister has said it. He says we are open for a discussion on all issues, including the Adani matter.
So that's what. So the last 5 days, why is it being disrupted? Is that they didn't want a discussion. Now maybe they've agreed. I do not know. But as of what I know from my party is no agreement has come to place. And very important, Manipur. Manipur, there is crisis there. There is huge, it's kind of a civil war there. The NPP, the alliance partner, does not want Mr. Biren Singh. Mr. Biren Singh is hanging in there 1.5 years after the Manipur violence. Everybody, including his MLAs, wants him to go. But the present dispensation does not want him to go. I mean, let me tell you, a week back, a 3-year-old child was shot in the head. Shot in the head, what we are seeing in Gaza, we are seeing over here. I mean, what is happening? Cookies and metis are
have this conversation in Parliament. That's the point I'm making. It's great that this debate is happening on TV.
Why is the government not agreeing? Let me tell you one more thing.
No, because the moment Parliament starts, you guys start making a ruckus. Instead of allowing for a discussion as per a particular rule of parliamentary proceeding, you are not allowing the Speaker and the Vice President in the Rajya Sabha to do their job properly.
Why should we not allow, Rahul? In 2010, when they came for a JPC in 2G in December, I still remember a session which was washed out. 2011 February, we allowed for a JPC.
Tuhin Sinha, here's the argument. The opposition says that there is no clarity, there is no agreement. We don't know when this discussion on Adani will happen, when the discussion on Manipur will happen. It's the government's job to keep Parliament functioning. You know, the moment there is the slightest ruckus, whoever's the chair of the house adjourns the house. It's almost as if the government doesn't really want this house to happen. Usually they're repeated adjournment 3, 4, 5, 6 times in the day. Here, after the first adjournment, the second adjournment, and the Parliament gets adjourned for the whole day.
Well, good evening, Rahul. Good evening, everybody. We have seen in the last few years that this opposition has a compulsively obstructionist attitude. For them, it's my way or the highway. We saw it through the Pegasus crisis. We saw it during the Manipur discussion in last year, when they insisted on having the discussion under a certain clause wherein we would not have exceeded 4 hours of discussion. We wanted to discuss it the whole day. Then they insisted on a no confidence motion. There again, the Home Minister spoke for a good 2 hours on the Manipur situation. In this present session of Parliament, they have successfully circumvented the presentation of the JPC report, which was due last Friday on the Waqf issue. Their members of the JPC break glasses during meetings. So we have seen a compulsively obstructionist attitude. There are 16 bills listed to be passed during this Parliament session. Therefore, the government wants to approach them with a certain sense of urgency. But as the government has always mentioned, we are open to every possible issue being discussed in Parliament, and we stand by that. Today, some important decisions have been taken in the meeting between the opposition and the ruling party. And I hope from tomorrow, the opposition will adhere to that and ensure that there is 100% productivity in the remainder of the session.
No, because you're saying there's an agreement. The Congress says there's no agreement. Ghanshyam Tiwari, from the perspective of the Samajwadi Party and other members of the India bloc, has there actually been an agreement? Will Parliament function? It almost seems as if they were both, and we can see those images on our screen right now, both sides were in the same meeting. Both sides come out and tell us different things.
Rahul, to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers, there are 3 quick points. One, the track record of Prime Minister Modi In last 10 years, there were more Sundays than sitting of the parliament. The government proved that it could run the country without the discussions in parliament. It threw out members of parliament for petty matters inexplicable. They ran their bulldozer on democracy and democratic intent of parliament. This is who they are. Now, point number two, that a man who is close to the prime minister has been accused by the largest democracy in the world, in the most powerful country in the world, by their justice system. The departments that are associated, SECI, has any minister or former minister or ministers for non-renewable for renewable energy, Piyush Goyal, R.K. Singh, or Prahlad Joshi, have they made a single statement? I'm absolutely surprised. The obsession with BJP MPs, ministers, spokespersons are defending Adani day in, day out. They don't even defend the prime minister to that level. The point number three, this is a batenge katenge party, right from the prime minister to the UP chief minister. The entire UP government stands accused. The chief minister should resign. But when you look at India Today cover story on N. Biren Singh, who has been quoted in that cover story of saying "Bam chalayenge," that is his quote as per the recording, and the India Today story incriminates him. Yet the man is still the chief minister of a burning Manipur.
No, but have
the
this conversation in parliament. Listen, what I'm trying to understand is, why can't this conversation, this debate happen in parliament? Let parliament function. In the opportunity your speakers get, let your MPs raise these issues. Do it on the floor of the house.
Because the prime minister doesn't want to address these issues.
No, but they've said they're open for a discussion on all issues, including Sambal, including Manipur, including Adani.
Quick response. This is a government that postponed parliament for Gujarat election once, allowed its undeclared allies such as AIDMK and YSRCP to disrupt parliament when they were in full majority. The prime minister is shy of parliament. He does not want to face the members of parliament who are the voice of...
No, but how are you saying this? If you don't allow for parliament to function, and if for a few days parliament functions and there's no debate on Manipur, on Sambal, on Adani, then you can say what we're saying is correct. Right now, the moment the proceedings start, the opposition MPs jump into the well of the house and there's no debate.
Rahul, if I start disrupting this debate, you will switch off my mic or you will turn me out. This government, and you are responsible for running this debate. This government is responsible for running the parliament. They are not in the house because they are shying away. How long does it take for anybody? What is the Adani matter? The people of India are paying for a corrupt deal on which the investors of US have put their money on, accused by the justice system, when Mr. Gautam Adani and Sagar Adani are personally incriminated, and multiple state officials have been bribed under a department that is under the cabinet minister and PMO. How many people are incriminated in this? And has anybody of responsible, show the quote to your viewers, one single responsible voice from the cabinet to the secretary?
No, but if the debate happens in parliament, then you can press the government for answers. You're not letting parliament function.
Just like I can't stop your debate from happening, the opposition, if the government is really intentful of parliament, this is the government that threw out 145 members of parliament. 145. If the prime minister was courageous, the parliament would have functioned.
Jagdeep Chokhar, you have a more dispassionate, non-partisan point of view on this. As founder trustee ADR, you look very carefully at parliamentary proceeding, costs incurred, loss to the nation. Is any one side more to blame? Is the government running away from a debate, or is the opposition to blame for not allowing the debate to happen?
I believe it is all political parties who are behaving very, very irresponsibly. And let me add, this is not a new phenomenon. I wrote an article in the Tribune newspaper in February of 2012, which was titled Denigration of Parliament. And in 2012, the parliament was being disrupted repeatedly, and the leaders of the opposition in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha both were on record saying disrupting parliament is a genuinely democratic, acceptable practice. I, in that article, had said that political parties are irresponsible, which is very, very unfortunate. But the speaker and the chairman of the Rajya Sabha should feel responsibility of running these two houses.
No, what's your solution? Given the current state of impasse, what's your solution?
My solution is the chairpersons of the two houses should have the courage to expel whoever people are not allowing the parliament to run, but nobody in the parliament, including the presiding officers, feel responsible to the nation. The parliament is the property of the people of this country. And everybody sitting in parliament, including all members of parliament and the speaker and the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, do not feel they are responsible to the people.
Tohin Sinha, respond to what Jagdeep Chokar is saying.
Just a minute.
Yes,
I have the greatest respect for the institution of parliament. But I am sorry to say, I do not respect the current lot of parliamentarians. The institution of parliament has been rendered irrelevant by all political parties put together.
Tohin Sinha, no, here's the point. Yeah. You've shown this in the past. When you were determined, you said, okay, we will proceed with parliamentary proceedings. If you keep protesting, we'll throw you out. The SP is saying it, the Congress is saying it. Ab karke to dekho, it's almost as if the government at this moment also is looking for a pretext to want to adjourn parliament.
That's not true, Rahul. In the last parliament tenure, which was between 2019 to 2024, there were umpteen occasions where the parliament has operated well past midnight to pass important bills, including, when Article 370 was abrogated. There have been occasions where the parliament session per se has operated at 100% plus efficiency and passed very important bills. But over here, what I have witnessed, or what we witnessed, is that in the last 2 or 3 years, the opposition has got into this obsession of disrupting parliament from day one on some pretext or the other. And this is something which we don't want to play ball to. This is something we want to combat aggressively right now.
No, but how are you combating this aggressively, Tohin Sinha? If you keep adjourning parliament, usually parliament meets, there's a ruckus and adjourns several times in the day. It's almost as if you also want kaam khatam karo, ek baar ho, dusri baar ho, fir bolo ki okay, we'll see you next day.
The whole idea of today's meeting between the opposition MPs and the ruling party MPs was to at least evolve a consensus for the remainder of the parliament. And even now, the opposition MPs seem to be denying what was discussed in the meeting. So intellectual dishonesty has become a hallmark of this opposition. And I think, if they don't take these meetings seriously, obviously this meeting was not to, have tea and biscuits. It was to discuss important things like the way the parliament would function for the remainder of the session. So when you have a solution being discussed and they deny it, obviously there is some amount of intellectual dishonesty which renders our efforts helpless.